Have you ever really wanted something and then upon receiving it realized it's not quite what you had imagined, or realized that there's some obstacles in the way of you actually embracing and experiencing what you really wanted to? As a stay-at-home mom, I think I know these feelings all too well. I love my children dearly, but, well, I guess I should say there are some days where it becomes really hard. Finding quiet time is usually not a common thing. But when I did find some time with the Lord, this is something He shared with me. It's found in Deuteronomy 1, verses 19 and 20. And they read, "So we departed from Horeb and went through all that great and terrible wilderness which you saw on the way to the mountains of the Amorites, as the Lord our God had commanded us. Then we came to Kadesh Barnea. And I said to you, you have come to the mountains of the Amorites, which the Lord our God is giving us. Look, the Lord your God has set the land before you. Go up and possess it, and the Lord your God of your fathers, as the Lord your God of your fathers has spoken to you. Do not fear or be discouraged." So as we're in this passage, we remember this is Moses retelling the Israelites their history of what had happened when God had given them a promise and was actually on the brink of fulfilling that promise for them. He was giving them their own land, their own space, their own place where they could rest, they could develop, they could grow, they could just have a sense of stability. And He wasn't just giving them any common place. He was giving them these mountains that, as we go further in the passage, it tells us that they said that the land was so good. It truly was a land that was flowing with milk and honey. The land was fertile. There were fruits that they brought back that were so large, grapes, bunches of grapes so large that two men had to carry them between each other. And so this was not just any land. It was a beautiful land, a land that was worth the wait, and one that promised many blessings. And so He was giving them this land that they wanted and desired so much, especially after wandering in the wilderness, wondering where their food was going to come, where their water was going to come, whether the water would be bitter or be able, or whether they'd be able to drink it. And so this land was something that they truly, truly wanted. And so the time had finally come when God said, "The land is yours. You have come to the mountain of the Amorites, which the Lord is giving us. Go up and possess it, as the God of your fathers has spoken to you." But we see He also adds here, not to fear or be discouraged. And that's because sometimes the promises that God has for us, they come with some other things that we don't necessarily want to deal with. In this land, there were giants, as we all know. Giants from the tribe of the Amorites. And these weren't kind people at all. Not only were there giants, but there were many of them. And the people came back with this report saying that there are too many there for us, and they're greater than us. There is no way that we can truly go and possess it. Let's go back to Egypt. And so this land had many obstacles, challenges, giants that they did not want to face. And as a mom, or in my personal experience as a mom, motherhood has many giants. They're little giants that are really giants, reflections of my own giants in my own life, my own walk, in my own state of being that I have to face each and every day. I don't know, for you, maybe it may be that you've been wanting this position with at work, or this career that you thought that you really wanted, or maybe it's with a relationship, person that you thought would be all that you wanted. Maybe you've even gone into marriage and you realized, wow, Lord, there are some giants here that I don't want this promise anymore. But I just want to encourage you to remember what God says. He says that I'm giving it to you. And we know that if God is giving us something, it's good, just as this land was. Whatever God gives us is for our greatest good. Not just because it's for our greatest good, but it actually is good. Not only this, but he tells us not to be discouraged. And as you read more in this chapter, or in this book, or even in other places, in Numbers, for instance, we are given account after account of how God actually was the one that helped them remove the giants out of these lands. He helped them kill the king of Sidon, I believe it was. Even before getting to this, well, he helped them kill the kings of these giants. And we learn here that it's actually God that removes the giants for us. It's actually God that helps us overcome those obstacles that we see and that we face in those relationships, in our careers, in whatever promise he has given us. And so what he gives us is good. He tells us not to be afraid. And he tells us not to be afraid or dismayed because he's the one that overcomes the giants for us. And so I guess I leave us all with just the encouragement and hope and reminder that, yes, this thing that I've wanted for so long, that God has finally given to me, now that it's here and it has some giants, it doesn't mean that it's not good. It just means that I now have an opportunity for God to come in and to work out and to remove these giants. And he's promised that I will be able to possess it. And that's what I hold on to.